March 8, 2014, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 passengers vanishes from radar. No distress call, no wreckage, just silence. What really happened to flight MH370? On board that night were 239 lives, 239 stories, 239 futures that would never arrive. Some passengers were sending their final boarding now messages. Some were excited, some were afraid of flying, but trusted the sky anyway. No one knew. This would be the last time their names were spoken on an intercom.
Malaysia 370, request level.
370, we are ready, requesting flight level 340 to Beijing.
370, 3 to right of takeoff, 9.
That's right, Captain Malaysia 370.
Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 was scheduled to fly to Beijing, a routine overnight flight. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. The aircraft was a Boeing 777, one of the safest planes ever built. The captain, a veteran pilot with over 18,000 flight hours. This flight was supposed to be uneventful. Minutes later, MH370 vanished from civilian radar. No emergency signal. It was as if the plane had simply stopped existing, but planes don't do that. At 1:19 a.m., the plane reached cruising altitude. Everything was normal. Then, the final transmission came through to "Good night, Malaysian 370." Those would be the last words ever heard from the aircraft. One by one, the plane's communication systems were shut off. First the transponder, then the ACAR's data system, not damaged, not malfunctioning, turned off. This wasn't an accident, this was intention. When the world realized MH370 was missing, panic spread. Governments launched the largest search mission aviation had ever seen. Satellites, naval fleets, deep-sea drones. Hours later, military radar had detected something else. MH370 hadn't crashed, it had turned around, not randomly, not suddenly. It made a controlled, deliberate turn back across Malaysia, and then headed toward the open Indian Ocean. Someone was still flying that plane. Hours, MH370 continued on a path, just steady flight. One chilling theory suggests that the cabin may have already gone quiet, a gradual loss of oxygen, not enough to trigger alarms, but enough to slowly render everyone unconscious. If true, the aircraft would have continued flying, with no passengers awake, and no one left to intervene, just an autopilot, following a programmed path, waiting for the fuel to run out. And eventually, fuel exhaustion would have taken over. Without power, the aircraft wouldn't fall from the sky, it would glide, quietly, gracefully, until it met the surface of the ocean. Governments launched the most expensive search in aviation history. Sonar scanned the seabed, drones descended into darkness, but technology has limits, and the ocean has none. After years of searching, the mission was suspended, not because the mystery was solved, but because nothing more could be found. Years later, debris began washing ashore. Pieces confirmed to belong to MH370, but they appeared thousands of kilometers apart, arriving long after hope had faded, enough to prove the plane crashed, but not enough to explain how or why. Each fragment answered one question, and created 10 more. The questions that still haunt the sky. Why were communication systems disabled one by one? Why was the flight path altered with precision? Why was no final message ever sent? And if this was planned, who planned it? And if it wasn't, why does so much still remain hidden? Over a decade later, MH370 remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern history, not because there are no theories, but because none can be proven. The plane is gone. And the silence remains. Some truths disappear, and others are buried where we can never reach them. And until MH370 is found, the world is left with questions.